Always nice to see you.
Always like working with you.
Aren't you going to congratulate him on having a station named after him?
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. I really am. I think it's a brilliant move. Because what do stations do? You're floating in a neverland of radio stations. Hey, want to play the Jackie game as long as I got you here?
Sure, why not?
All right. Tom went to lunch with Jackie, Baba Booey, and Stuttering John.
Wow. That's what I call a power lunch.
Let's see. Shuli has a... Shuli.
Hello.
Hey.
What's happening?
What's happening?
So I want to hear the story just like you guys. So I wrote some questions. I figured maybe you guys can bet on the answers before they give them.
All right, go ahead.
All right. First question is, was Jackie on time for lunch?
I'm going to bet no. I think it's a...
Did he make an entrance?
Yeah, I'd say he was at least 10 minutes late. That's what I'm going to say. Anybody want to bet on that?
See, I think he...
And I know I owe you $200, Artie. I'm going to pay you today.
Jackie's later on time. See, I don't know that much about Jackie and his time late.
I don't know Jackie well enough, so
I can't make a...
I guarantee you I'm right. All right, let's go to the experts on all of this. I'm just hearing a weird noise. I'm trying to figure out where it's coming from.
Static or something.
That seemed to help.
I bet you it's this mic.
Which one?
Mine.
Let me see. No. I don't know. Who cares?
It's a piece of equipment.
Doesn't matter, right, Tom?
Right.
All right.
The answer is...
Yes.
Jackie was on time.
Okay.
Tom was late, actually.
That's the Tom move.
All right, go ahead. Next question.
Okay. Did Jackie bring up Beth at any point in the lunch?
Beth?
I'm going to say yes, because he had this weird move. He'd always go, say hi to your lady for me.
Yeah, he probably did that whole thing. Tell Howard and Beth I said hello, or something like that.
Beautiful lady, tell her you. He always used to do that, and it gave me the creeps, because it was like, I know he's always looking at my money. He was always looking at everything, so he was looking over the woman, too. That really made him mental. All right. Did he bring her up?
No.
No.
Okay.
Oh, so we're...
He only brought that stuff up to me, usually.
I'm surprised you'd think that, because Jackie, you would think we'd only bring up things about him.
Right, you're right.
You're right. Yeah, and when he brought up Beth, it would always be at the end of a sentence where he wasn't getting what he wanted, and he'd go, say hello to your beautiful lady.
The best thing about Jackie, he would go through like 10 minutes about his life, and then go, so anyway, how's Susanna?
Yeah.
She's great.
Yeah, back to me.
Blah, 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 blah. Oh, no, Susanna. Blah, 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 blah. I got a new joke machine. Blah, blah.
All right, next question.
Okay.
I'm doing bad at this, but go ahead.
Yeah.
I'm surprised.
All right, I'll do better now.
Okay, now just answer this one yes
or no.
You know what it is?
I haven't been around him in a while, and I'm kind of
I know, we've all forgotten.
I'm off my game, yeah.
All right, just answer this one yes or no, because it could be a follow-up depending on the answer. Was there an argument at the table?
So, yeah.
Argument or just a disagreement?
A disagreement, yes. Yeah. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, without a doubt, I would bet the farm on it.
Yes.
Okay.
There's a few.
Okay.
Right. A few. Okay, good.
Okay, next question. Did Tom yell at Jackie? Yes or no?
No. Tom feels bad for Jackie. No, Tom would not yell at Jackie. No way.
No, Tom did not yell at Jackie. It was not that kind of lunch.
He argued with Jackie.
Yeah, but he wouldn't yell.
He didn't yell at him.
He didn't yell, no.
Yeah, no, Tom's classy. Go ahead.
Okay. Did Jackie take any responsibility for leaving the show?
None.
Yes.
No, I say no.
A little bit. I would say a smidge.
Oh, yeah, like he'll go, yeah, I know, I could have handled things differently, but you didn't do it.
Right. Yeah. It's mostly everybody else's fault, but he takes a little
Right, a little bit, but so small.
It's a fun game, eh?
Yeah. Are we right?
He didn't take any.
No, I don't think
he took zero.
I agree. I think he did.
You think
I think he accepted.
I don't think he did.
What was your evidence, Tom, that he accepted a little?
Because he talked about how the fact he could have. He made an offer to come back, and he probably knew he maybe stayed out too long.
Yeah, but he didn't.
Still, he thought the door would be open.
But he didn't take responsibility.
Well, yeah, he's saying he waited too long.
No, I think what he's saying was that if I could interpret this, that inevitably he came back around for the deal, but I still think in his mind he thinks the deal was severely unfair.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
At one point he said he did it for the money, Tom.
Right. Because
but he didn't take responsibility.
How much money?
One of my favorite quotes was, he said, I heard a lot of people say that this was over $50,000, and how could you not take that job for $50,000? And he said something like, hey, $50,000 to you, $50,000 to me. Who's to say what that kind of money is?
Yeah, like people listening, if they are upset about $50,000, is it nothing to them, right?
Right.
Well, if somebody's offering you millions, you don't worry about $50,000. That's the point.
Yeah, even for 50 grand, he should have stayed with the show.
You didn't give me my... It's like obsessing on a pebble.
It wasn't like 50...
when the whole road has to be
Yeah, you got
built.
all the sand except for one piece.
And he wants that one piece. It doesn't matter.
It wasn't
He'll
like
give
it was
up everything
50
for the
versus
one
100.
piece.
Yeah, it wasn't like, okay, I'm making 100 grand, but I need 150. It was like, I'm making a couple of million. I need 50 grand.
That 50,000's bothering me.
And
it's just the one thing left on the table.
And the reason why I think it bothered him, and we didn't discuss this at lunch, it wasn't about the actual money. It was, you know...
yeah, he was not being appreciated.
Right.
No.
Yeah, almost done.
What?
It was
No, it was about the money. In fact,
so?
yes, because this is the second time he told me that.
It isn't about the money.
Hold
He
on.
doesn't know that.
Howard, I had Chinese...
That's what he says, but you know, if you're a student of psychology, this has nothing to do with money.
Okay, but Howard, after he left, when I was over his house once,
He said it's the money.
I said, Jackie, this was about a pat on the back. He goes, no.
What does the money represent?
I don't think that's
a pat
honest.
on the back.
Right. I agree with you.
Absolutely.
I don't. And by the way, I don't think he's being
He
dishonest.
may not be
He believes
aware
that.
of it, yeah.
I mean, he'd have to go to therapy to understand that, but he sabotaged himself because he was getting the pat on the back.
More about the recognition and those people he considered powerful bowing to his wishes.
Right, there's no pat on the back big enough for him.
Notice me.
Here was his line.
Say that about
But-
notice me.
Here was his line.
Jackie's line was, when John brought up the 50, or the 50 came up, was, well, yeah, it was 50. If it was only 50 to me, it was only 50 to them. And that we were bigger, and therefore the 50 was less.
Right.
Was
That was all about you guys bending.
I
to his
can't
will.
tell you how glad I am to be done with all of that. I got to tell you.
I mean,
got to be honest
it was a
with you.
horrible situation to be stuck in.
Yeah. Because then the guy would sign he would have signed let's say in 4 months we waited it out and he came back, he would have resented us the whole time. I never got the 50.
The thing is,
All right.
50 grand to Jackie, that's like 2 gigs for him.
Yeah. If I tell you this wasn't about money,
That's the thing. He could have always made it up by doing another gig.
I guarantee you, and I'll tell you this, whatever he was offered, I would say 90% of the morning radio guys in this country don't even make half of what he was offered.
And he was the writer.
Yeah.
And you know,
he was a writer.
I never count anybody's money. Never. But Jackie didn't have 8 children that he's putting through college.
Right.
You know what I mean?
It was just Jackie.
Like, it wasn't even like I have a sick relative that I have to do long-term hospital care
It was
for.
just a matter of he's going to take the 4 months off, come waltzing back in, and it backfired on him. Yeah. Because you know what? You don't wait 4 months, and people have to do. I took them for real.
That's one of the big disputes, the time frame. That was the biggest issue.
Well, hold on. Let's say the rest of the game if you want. Unless you want to just screw the game.
Screw the game. Tell me the line.
Yeah.
The biggest issue for Jackie, the thing that...
By the way, when you all sat down, was it weird?
Well, I saw him... John
What was the greeting?
I thought it was very weird. Tom didn't agree. I thought it was... I had a weird experience there. I didn't even talk that much.
Tell me what you saw.
Just for me, it was just very odd that we were all together, and it was never like me, Tom, and Gary and Jackie would never have a social lunch.
Right.
You know, we would just never be that way. And if we did, we'd be drinking, and this was just more of
a business,
like almost like a business like lunch. And
what was his point?
Well, Tom and Jackie talked the most. I'm sorry, Gary.
No.
Yes.
You should talk about the drinking thing.
What was the point? To argue in front of you guys? So
I'll tell you the point.
So he would be proven that he got screwed somehow?
This is how crazy I thought it was. The real issue for this lunch was Jackie is upset that you're saying that it took him 6 to 8 months to call back and say he wanted the job.
I never said 6 to 8 months.
What Jackie's saying is that you've said on the air, and Jackie says he never listens, and he got the transcript. Somebody emailed him the transcript after I talked about having the phone conversation.
Right.
So he said, hey, if somebody's nice enough to type it up, I'm going to read it. So he's saying that I guess you keep saying that you held this job open for him for 6 to 8 months. It's 6 or 8 months.
No,
I never said that.
Said 6 to 8 months.
And that 2 months after the door closed.
I got to tell you something. I don't sit, as organized as I may be, with a calendar and debate how many days it took Jackie, how many days it waited. Here's my point of view. 4 months. We were coming back from Vegas. I said, Jackie, not a bad deal. We're on a private plane. Our radio station's providing a private plane.
We got suites.
He was
the whole world is laid out for us in Vegas.
He was treated like a king in Vegas. I don't think Jackie will ever experience anything like that. And I turned to him, and I knew his contract was up. And I said, I know you're having a whole thing with Tom. And I know that the radio station appreciates you. Tom told me the offer. I don't know the whole sequence, how many months it was. But we started talking, and I said, you know what? I'm signing on for another 5 years. We're on a roll. Hey, man, life's good, right? Let's do it. I don't know. I'll see what happens.
But the final point is, he said, I'm done.
Right. So then, without even telling me, really, he never told me.
Yeah, one day he was here, and the next day he was gone.
He left. He pulled his usual Jackie. He left.
And not only that, but you told him, if you go this time, we're going to look for somebody else.
But that was on air.
Yeah, and by the way, whether he called me or I called him, I couldn't tell you. I don't remember. But all I know is there were several conversations, and I said, come on back. Your job's ready. What are you doing? I heard the offer. It's good. Yeah, you think it's good. That's your money. What about me? And they don't appreciate me. This is So he says, listen, I'm done. I'm done with it. So I said, okay.
Now, what is the person supposed to do? Wait for him to get undone?
So I talked to Robin, and Robin was like, why are we waiting for this guy? And I said, I don't know. I said, it's just me. I have a hard time letting go of people. I have a hard time letting go. You know, we have a way of doing business. I don't like change. And Robin even said to me, the last time, why are you being such a sucker with this guy?
The last time I was...
Right.
And Howard said, Robin, I need to do this. Let me do it. I was like, all right, you want to do it? Go ahead and do it.
And I was sort of embarrassed, too, because, like, Robin was like, we don't need this aggravation. Robin came to me and said that. And I was like, I know you're right, but I saved the guy's job, did I not?
Oh, yeah. It all worked. I mean, it was all working really well. So
and Tom had said to me, listen, I don't know how the show runs. He says, but this guy's a major pain in the ass.
But this is where it got so uncomfortable.
So anyway, so all I know is I waited months and months, whether it was 4 months.
No, he's saying 2 months.
Okay, 2 months. That's more than I should have waited.
Why should we sit around waiting for 2 months?
He's saying that you're saying you waited months and months, and that 2 months to the day.
Yeah, and every day he told me I quit.
No, I got
and I even wrote him an email.
He's saying that, but here's where he's upset, and this is where he put Tom in a weird position. I felt. He says that 2 months afterwards, his agent called Tom and said, "Okay, we want the deal," and Tom said,
"It's off the table."
Tom said, let me get back to you.
Right.
And Tom didn't get back to him.
Of course.
And Jackie was very insulted by that, to the point where Tom was sort of fumfering, and Jackie sort of painted Tom into a corner to apologize.
Let me tell you something.
Well, Tom had a bad answer,
which I didn't think was necessary.
I thought Tom had a bad answer.
Let me tell you something.
Tom's answer was an honest answer.
I know, but to Jackie, it was a bad answer.
I don't care.
Because even when I was walking home...
Who really cares what the answer is?
Right.
By the way, what was the point of the whole lunch? Like,
the point of the lunch was
he quit.
To clear this.
If we waited a day.
Let me just say this, because here's the point of the lunch. Jackie wanted to say that that in 2 months he came back, and you keep saying it was 6 months, and it was 2 months, and he could prove
2 months. So what's the difference?
And
you know what? He's right. It was 2 months.
And Gary's right. And nobody ever called back.
When I quit, I expect 2 months to change my mind.
But I recall Tom saying to me at the end of the negotiation that there was a deadline.
Right.
Jackie didn't make it. It's off the table. It was off the table the last day of that. It wasn't 2 months later that it was removed from the table. It wasn't a month later.
And Jackie never believes it's off the table. Like if Tom says it's off the table, it's off the table.
But Tom said to him, no, this is during our lunch. Tom goes, I don't remember how long it was. Right. That bothered the crap out of Jackie.
Who does except him? This is his...
Yeah, he was there able to count the days. We had to work.
He committed the suicide. No wonder he remembers. We've all moved on.
But Tom didn't even, recollect the conversation that Tom had with you about it. But I do, because I was in the studio, and I remember when Tom came in here and said to you, Jackie's agent called, he's willing to take the deal. And if you don't mind me saying, and Tom says I should ask you if it's okay, what your reaction was.
Fine, I don't care.
Okay, well, your reaction was, I don't know if I want him back.
That's right.
And that's
right. I've been
and you had 2 months of freedom.
But I was surprised Tom didn't remember that.
He showed me a new way.
No, you did remember, but you didn't remember it.
But even if I did,
you didn't want to say it.
And I chose not to because I'm not going to speak for Howard.
Yeah. Right.
That's Howard's conversation.
Yeah. I'll speak for Howard.
Right. But then there was an uncomfortable moment.
I didn't know if I wanted him back.
But there was an uncomfortable moment where...
No.
But he gave you the opportunity to see life without him.
Yeah, and I started...
Who did that?
I mean, the guy did this to me all the time.
But Jackie thought it was very unprofessional at Tom to not call him back.
And then there was that uncomfortable moment where...
it's very unprofessional
to walk out on your job.
To walk out without notice.
So, Howard, there was this very uncomfortable moment.
He only understands it's unprofessional when it's done it to him.
Yeah. You want to talk unprofessional.
But how this is all going on at lunch? This whole thing, Tom and now... Jackie finally got on his elbows and leaned over the table and goes, Tom, come on. You don't remember how long it was. I mean, come on.
What's the difference?
And like, you don't call me back. I mean, you don't call an agent back. I mean, is that the way you do business?
Do you know how many times?
Right, Tom?
Yeah, kind of like that.
And that's the part where Tom got sort of uncomfortable. It was a long pause. We all sort of
Hey, you work with a guy 12 years. He doesn't call you up and tell you he's not going to show up for work the next day? How unprofessional is that?
And let me say something. I said to Tom, you all created this by mollycoddling Jackie all those years, letting him walk off, come back, walk off, come back.
It's true.
He, of course, didn't know what was right or wrong.
Right. Can I just say this one thing, though? After that,
well, you know what? He needed someone to teach him.
Well, now I know.
And his people were going to teach us a lesson. Right. That was the word we got. They're going to teach us. His people are going to teach us a lesson how to negotiate.
Right. But after
I don't need to work with a guy who's going to teach me a lesson all the time.
What is the lesson? You're paying him.
Yeah.
The ultimate culprit. For you, he wouldn't even have people to talk
no
to
kidding.
You know?
Howard is the one who mollycoddled him over all the years.
I did.
Every time he walked out, Howard
I
always go to
understand that.
his defense.
I understand.
No, Tom is right.
Tom
is right. I take full responsibility.
I understand that, but you guys really hold the purse strings.
Yeah.
Yeah, but wait. But if Howard comes back to you and says, if Howard goes to Mel and says, listen, you know what?
He's a good guy.
I know.
Here's what I used to do.
How many times you did it?
I used to walk into Mel's office and I'd say, Mel would say to me, I don't want the guy here anymore.
Right.
And I'd say, listen, he's his own worst enemy. I shouldn't be his agent and negotiating for him. He's using me. I said, but his own worst enemy. He doesn't know what he's doing. Can we work this out?
You saved him every time.
Yeah.
And he acts as if you never did.
And many times I would just pay him out of my pocket.
But my point is, he acts as if you never did anything for him. You never did anything.
Nothing.
You never stepped up and did anything.
No, he was angry when he'd come back. He'd go, yeah, you could have done more.
I mean, years later, 5 years later, he's saying, Howard never did it. He could have saved. He did it every year. For how many years did Jackie work with us?
And all my people were saying to me, this guy's taking advantage of you. He's not being a good guy.
The time before, I was livid.
Right. And I said, you know what? I saw it like, all right, I only saw his point of view. I really did. But also, I put my own feelings aside.
Also, what Robin's missing is you also appreciate his work.
I do.
I'm not missing that at all.
Yeah. But let me tell you
How did I miss that?
Well, I'm saying he was writing stuff that Howard liked, so that's another reason why he wanted to keep him around.
Not the point.
So
We've gotten along, haven't we?
So the point is, I coddled him.
Meanwhile, Jackie appreciated nothing of that.
Right. There was loyalty from you, but there was none from Jackie.
That's how I felt.
Yeah.
Robin's voice takes on a whole different tone when she talks about Jackie.
Oh, you don't know. That time that I went in, I was determined that he was not going to do it.
Yeah.
I was determined.
Robin was really angry and said to me, I don't want him back here. And I said many times, I'm sorry you feel that way, but I'm going to bring him back. Now, this time, the guy was playing real hardball because Tom pretty much gave him the store. He gave him the store. You know what he was doing.
This is where people got to understand. This is where Jackie made the biggest blunder. It was a lot of money.
A lot of money.
You know, and that's where...
Now he was security. And then I felt, you know what he's doing? He's taking himself a little vacation.
Right.
On my ass.
And we keep the store open.
Yeah. And I don't move on, and I don't hire other people to help out, and I don't, I said,
and he'll come back and he'll still be the curmudgeon that he always is. You're still not doing that.
I'll still have to walk in and look over my shoulder and say, oh, here's a guy who's ready,
Every time an article appears in the paper about some success of yours, you'll have to not look back there.
That's right. So, you know what? I always loved the guy. He's a fun as hell guy to hang out with.
You know, he really is. I really like him.
Everybody likes Jackie.
Everybody likes him. The only person who doesn't like Jackie is Jackie. Yeah. And that's my opinion. And I've said it to him. I said it to him on the phone. I said to him, you're your own worst enemy.
The first time he walked out, years and years ago, he looked at me and he said, I hate to break up the Beatles, but I got to do it.
Can I make one more observation, Howard, because it's important? So after Jackie sort of paints Tom into this corner about how Tom never called him back, there was like an uncomfortable pause, and Tom just didn't know what to say because it was uncomfortable. So Tom goes, if that's how it went, I guess I'm sorry. And it was almost as if I thought it was a half-hearted I'm sorry.
Yeah, now Jackie's thinking he
Jackie extracted it from
you want to know something? Good. And you know what? If that makes his life good, I want a good life for him. I don't have any animosity to him.
My only concern is that if he ever gets a job again, he's once again been told these antics work. Tom was wrong in the way he handled it.
He walked away from that
you know what? I don't have to worry about him.
Time out.
if you apologize, that's what I'm saying. That's what Jackie's going to say to himself.
Tom feels really bad for Jackie. I really do. I felt so sad at the end of that lunch because here was a guy who,
and that's what's uncomfortable too. I knew you felt bad for him.
I wanted to hug him. I would say, Jackie, you know what? I feel really bad, but you
go get a therapist.
This was your own. You made this bed. You're lying in it. But I really feel bad that he's winding up lying in this bed.
Right.
And
there's nothing wrong with feeling bad for
anything that I said to that guy at that lunch was out of compassion to him.
Oh, absolutely.
Right.
And not out of lack of conviction of my position, not out of lack of conviction of the conversations that I had with Howard, which are none of his business when it came to
my feelings, the discussion,
the timing and all that, because I'm not talking for Howard, I'm talking for me, and I'm not going to report conversations that may have been private conversations.
No, I'm just saying, but the answer you gave him irritated the crap out of him.
But too bad.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. I am sure I could have gone in at some point when he decided to come back, and I could have already. I was thinking about Artie. I was thinking about some other people contributing to the show. In fact, I'd even hired some people already. I would have had to go to those people, fire them, and I wasn't prepared to do that. I'm a loyal guy. I was not going to fire these new people, and I just said, listen, it's over.
And you should say that it's more than just people that sat in the studio. We ended up using that money for a variety of things.
Yeah, and I got to tell you, that's the way I am. I mean, I have a long track record, as Robin says, of coddling the guy, and it's true. And finally, I just had enough. Howard. It was over.
You know, I love Jackie. He's a friend, but you didn't do anything wrong.
I know that.
I mean, it's really, I mean, he just made a bad business mistake.
And it wasn't me not liking Jackie.
Right, you liked him.
It was the way he treated Howard and didn't appreciate what was done.
But you didn't like him because you weren't, you didn't agree with him wholeheartedly. And if you don't agree with him wholeheartedly, you didn't like him.
Well, I'm just telling you how I feel. I don't care what Jackie thinks of any situation.
Well, actually, I didn't tell you. So after the lunch, I walked home with him.
Right.
And he goes, I can't believe Tom doesn't remember how long it was, and I'm sure I can call my lawyer, and I'm sure he can pull off the phone call, and it'll be 2 months. And I said, Jackie, why does it matter? 2, 6, 8. What does
he want to do?
What does it matter?
He could get the phone record.
He could find out that
he wants to get the phone record.
Not the phone record, but his lawyer could look at he goes, I'm sure my lawyer writes out every call he makes.
The lawyer who's going to teach me how to negotiate?
But I said, why does it matter? 2, 6 months? What does it make a difference?
Yeah, it's over.
You quit. You quit.
You left a good situation.
Right. And I begged him not to.
Yeah, and that's happened 100 times. People can't be abused that much.
And he doesn't understand that. The only friend he had here was you in those negotiations.
That was
the
it.
only one.
And he knew it.
Everybody else wanted to bail.
Yep.
And then the other weird part of the lunch was we had a discussion about something that you were involved in, whether you were right or wrong, and he didn't agree. And
oh dear.
I disagree with him. I was pretty straight.
What's his problem?
It was something that you were involved in that I don't really want to talk about. But, it's about whether you were right or wrong. And he didn't think that you were correct. He thought that you were just not correct about it.
I'm a bad person. He's right.
No, it wasn't a mean thing to you. He just thought that you had overreacted to something. And I said, you know what, Jackie? You're way off. And if you don't see it, I'm surprised. And he's like, I don't know.
And then Gary and Tom had that argument.
No,
you know what? And it was just, who wants to have this lunch?
Why was this lunch? I mean, this is a horrible lunch.
What is the point of the lunch?
It was the first time I shut up for the whole lunch.
It's almost sort of quiet.
That was very quiet.
Just because it was so uncomfortable.
Yeah, Gary was emailing Jackie about 2 friends getting together to have lunch.
That's what it was. It should have been just Jackie and I sitting there just talking about, and we asked some questions. We asked some direct questions. Like I asked him, I said, Jackie, do you have to work? Do you still have to work? And he said, oh, absolutely, I have to work.
Right.
Because, you're unsure. He had a lot of money in stock.
Right.
He's got these new products that he says are doing great. He goes, no, I have to work. What else did we ask him?
Well, I asked him if his new products, got him $1 million yet.
Oh, dear.
Well, look.
Wait a minute. I mean, the only other thing that I was wondering about was the marriage.
Yeah, we talked about that.
Yeah, well, that's his business.
Well,
I mean, is he married or not?
He's married. He's married, I think. I don't know what I don't even want to get into it.
He may not be sure.
You know what? You know what?
Well, that part of it.
You know what? I think as of today, I'm even done talking about it.
Well, all right. Well, I will say another funny thing is he did call out, I know I went away. I shouldn't have broke up the Beatles.
The Beatles.
He did bring that up.
The Beatles are doing just fine.
And one of the most enjoyable enjoyable things was that he did goof on Gary's teeth a lot, which was fun, and that was...
Oh, so there were a few left.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I mean, you got to always do that.
You should understand, it wasn't like a painful lunch. It was an odd lunch, but when we weren't talking about this stuff, it was fine. It was good to see him.
I did say to Jackie...
Believe me, I have no happiness in this.
He has not had a drink in 3 years.
Good. That's good to hear.
We did something for him then.
We sobered him up.
And the second time John shut up is when the check came.
I did say to Jackie, hey, well, maybe we'll do a bit like The Apprentice, and you could apply for an intern's job.
I don't think Jackie was humored by that.
But you're supposed to be humored by the teeth jokes.
Yeah, I know. John thinks it was great because Gary's teeth were goofed on. Gary's like in the living hell.
Well, I said The Apprentice, and Jackie looked at Gary and goes, a dentist.
Right.
Well, you know what? Here's how we can wrap up, because I got to take a commercial break. And we have a lot to get to, by the way, which we've already blown off. I only wish this guy well. I think he's a good guy. He's a friend of mine. I still consider him a friend, even though I don't see him.
Even though you won't have
him. Oh, and I did offer for him to stop by the 2000 show.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah? And he said
no. It was just sort of a laugh. He didn't say no.
It's not even necessary. And you
I love that he's waiting for... that he was contemplating a pay-per-view where you would sit down and discuss the whole thing.
No, it ain't going to happen. I can tell you for sure that ain't going to happen either.
Hey, Howard, speaking of the 2000 show, I saw the E! Show last night.
Yeah.
Erica, the gymnast, man, I think she's the only girl who can make that haircut work, man. She is so hot.
Oh, is she hot?
Man.
Oh, is she
Some of the guys weren't digging her, man. I liked her.
I saw in the hall.
Why weren't they digging her?
They didn't like the short haircut. A lot of guys said Erica hit the wall. I didn't agree.
Oh, my God.
I do not agree at all.
Somebody said that she was busted.
Oh, dude, did you say that?
Who said that?
Well, I said that she's...
Somebody said
somebody,
it was me.
Well, it was
I didn't say she was.
He's right. Somebody did say it.
Artie also wasn't fond of her.
When she got up close to me, when she was standing over there looking at her body, it was like unbelievable. When she got up close to me, there was something crazy in her eyes that like took away the sexiness.
Well, she's crazy.
She had that crazy look. She had that thing look when you were feeling her up.
I see that crazy look and I go, I like this.
That's a plus.
Yeah, crazy.
She started to look like a guy to me.
Oh, because she had short hair?
Yeah, she started to look like...
There was one thing that I didn't, like, she must be really beautiful because nobody's noticed that big... She got a mole.
I didn't see it.
It's not like a dot. It's a big thing, that's right on the side of her face above her lip.
I never saw it.
Absolutely.
I did. I noticed it yesterday, yeah.
Did you ever meet your best friend, Eddie Ift?
What?
The best friend, Eddie Ift. You ever meet him?
No. Eddie. Yeah, I know Eddie.
She looked like him.
No.
Yeah, I'm telling you, she started to look like a guy.
Right, I got to take a break.
Well,
there you have it, the exclusive Jackie Lunch story.